Every single experience you have in your life begins as a thought, whether you are consciously aware of it or not. The mind is the workshop of creation, the silent engine that manufactures the reality you eventually walk into. When you think about it deeply, everything you see around you in the physical world, every building, every invention, every business, every piece of technology, first existed as nothing more than an idea in someone's mind. A person thought about it, they visualized it, they nurtured it, and eventually it materialized into the world. The same principle applies to your personal life, your job, your relationships, your financial situation, and even your level of happiness are all direct reflections of the dominant thoughts you have been carrying. The law of attraction does not respond to passing wishes or half-hearted desires. It responds to the dominant patterns of thought that are constantly shaping your internal world. When you allow thoughts of doubt, worry, and limitation to occupy your mind, you are essentially sending a signal to the universe that this is the reality you are expecting, and so circumstances will align to match it. This is why two people with the same opportunities, the same resources, and the same environment can experience completely different results in life. One may continually think about obstacles, challenges, and reasons why things will not work, and they will find their reality filled with evidence that confirms those beliefs. The other may train themselves to think about possibilities, growth, and expansion, and they will notice doors opening where others only see walls. The power of your thoughts lies in the fact that they filter how you perceive the world, and perception determines action, and action eventually creates results. Think about how often you allow negative thoughts to dominate without questioning them. If you wake up in the morning and your first thought is, "This day is going to be stressful," your brain immediately begins scanning for reasons to confirm that belief. You notice the traffic, the rude comment, the small inconveniences, and your entire day seems to align with the expectation you planted in your mind at the very beginning. The opposite is also true. If you begin the day with a deliberate thought such as, "Today is filled with opportunities, and I'm ready to receive them," your mind begins to look for evidence that aligns with that belief. You suddenly notice opportunities you might have ignored, conversations feel more meaningful, and even challenges appear as stepping stones rather than stumbling blocks. The external world doesn't change instantly, but your thoughts change the lens through which you view it, and that lens determines how you respond and what you attract back. The challenge is that most people live on autopilot, recycling the same thoughts day after day. Neuroscience shows that over 90% of the thoughts you think today are the same thoughts you thought yesterday. This means that unless you intentionally shift your thinking, you will continue to create the same reality over and over again. If you are unhappy with your circumstances, the first place to look is not outside of you but inside of your own mind. Ask yourself, what am I consistently thinking about? What beliefs have I been rehearsing for years? What mental stories am I replaying? These silent patterns are writing the script of your life. Until you interrupt those patterns and replace them with new ones, your life will remain the same no matter how hard you try externally. Training your thoughts is not about ignoring reality or pretending everything is perfect when it isn't. It is about choosing the perspective that serves your growth rather than limits it. For example, instead of thinking, "I can't afford this," you can shift to, "How can I afford this?" That single change in thought changes the energy behind it. The first thought shuts down possibilities, the second thought opens them up. Instead of thinking, "I'm not good enough for this opportunity," you can shift to, "What skills can I build to prepare myself for opportunities like this?" These subtle shifts may not seem powerful in the moment, but over time, they rewire the way your mind approaches challenges, and they slowly begin to create a different external reality. Another key element is visualization. When you visualize consistently, you are training your mind to accept new thoughts as truth. The subconscious mind does not know the difference between a vividly imagined event and a real one. That is why professional athletes, musicians, and top performers across industries spend hours rehearsing in their minds. They are planting seeds of success so deeply that when the actual moment arrives, the brain already believes it has lived it before. This principle is available to everyone. When you visualize the life you want, seeing yourself confident, successful, abundant, healthy, You are sending a message to your subconscious mind that this is who you are becoming. Over time, your thoughts, emotions, and actions begin to align with that image, and your reality gradually bends to match it. Your thoughts are also magnetic in the sense that they attract experiences of the same frequency. If your mind is filled with thoughts of scarcity and lack, you will unconsciously make choices that reinforce scarcity. You may avoid opportunities, play it safe, and stay in environments that limit your growth, because your mind believes that is all you deserve. On the other hand, when your mind is filled with thoughts of abundance, you will naturally gravitate toward decisions, relationships, and environments that expand you. You will have the courage to say yes to things that scare you, because your dominant thoughts are aligned with growth and possibility. The power of your thoughts is not just a motivational idea. It is a principle that shapes your daily life whether you acknowledge it or not. The words you speak, the emotions you feel, and the actions you take are all born out of thought. If you want to change the results you are experiencing, you must first change the source, and the source is always the mind. The law of attraction does not discriminate, it faithfully mirrors back the reality that matches the quality of your dominant thoughts. This means that if you want more, you must think more, you must see more, and you must believe more. The external circumstances you are facing are not final, they are simply the reflection of your previous thoughts. By changing your thoughts today, you begin to change the seeds you are planting for tomorrow. While thoughts create the blueprint of your reality, it is emotion that gives those thoughts the power to manifest. A thought by itself is like a picture drawn on paper. It carries form but not force. Emotion is the energy that breathes life into that picture and transforms it from an idea into an attraction. When you feel something deeply, your entire being begins to vibrate at that frequency, and it is that vibration that the law of attraction responds to. This is why people who dwell in constant states of fear, worry, and frustration often find themselves experiencing more of the very things they are trying to avoid, while those who cultivate gratitude, joy, and excitement seem to effortlessly pull favorable opportunities into their lives. Your emotions are not random reactions, they are signals of the energy you are transmitting, and that transmission is what draws experiences back to you. Think about a time when you felt truly excited about something. Maybe you had just landed a new job, started a new relationship, or received unexpected good news. In that moment, it felt as if your entire world was brighter, conversations flowed more easily, and even strangers seemed to respond to you differently. That wasn't coincidence. Your emotional state elevated your vibration, and because of that, you began to notice and attract experiences aligned with that energy. On the other hand, recall a time when you were angry or weighed down by stress. In that state, everything seemed to irritate you, small inconveniences felt like major obstacles, and it seemed as though life was conspiring against you. Again, it was not random bad luck. It was your emotional state acting as a magnet for experiences that matched your internal energy. This principle reveals why merely wishing for something is not enough. You cannot think about abundance while feeling anxious about lack and expect to attract wealth. The universe does not respond to empty words or superficial affirmations, it responds to the emotional vibration behind them. If you repeat, "I am successful," but deep down you feel unworthy and doubtful, then the emotion of unworthiness is stronger than the thought of success, and that is the energy that will dominate your reality. This is why aligning your emotions with your desires is crucial. It is not enough to think about what you want. You must feel the reality of it in your heart and in your body, as though it already exists. Cultivating emotions that align with your desires requires deliberate practice. Gratitude is one of the most powerful tools because it instantly raises your emotional state. When you practice gratitude, you shift your focus from what is missing to what is present, and that shift creates an emotional vibration of abundance. Even in difficult situations, choosing to focus on one thing you are grateful for has the power to soften fear and invite possibility. Over time, gratitude rewires the way you experience life, and it becomes easier to feel aligned with abundance rather than scarcity. Joy works in the same way. When you intentionally create moments of joy, whether by listening to uplifting music, engaging in activities you love, or spending time with people who energize you, you elevate your emotional vibration, and the energy you transmit begins to magnetize more experiences that produce joy. Another key is to visualize with emotion, not just with imagination. Many people try visualization as a mental exercise but fail to engage their emotions, and as a result, it feels hollow. The true power of visualization comes when you not only see the image of what you want, but also feel the emotions of already having it. If you are visualizing financial freedom, don't just see numbers in a bank account. Imagine the relief, the freedom, the security, and the joy that come with it. If you are visualizing success in your career, don't just picture a promotion. Feel the pride, the confidence, and the fulfillment of being recognized and rewarded for your value. The stronger you can anchor yourself emotionally to the outcome you desire, the more magnetic your energy becomes. It is also important to understand that negative emotions are not your enemy. They are simply signals pointing to your current vibration. When you feel fear, sadness, or frustration, it is not a sign that you are doomed, it is an invitation to shift. Emotions are feedback mechanisms. They let you know whether you are aligned with your desires or resisting them. Instead of suppressing negative emotions, acknowledge them, learn from them, and then consciously choose to move toward emotions that serve you. This does not mean ignoring pain, but rather recognizing that you have the power to direct your focus. If you continue feeding the energy of pain, it will expand. If you shift your attention towards solutions, hope, or gratitude, your emotional state gradually rises and your vibration changes. Your body plays a powerful role in this process as well. Emotion is not only mental, it is physical. When you are stressed, your posture slouches, your breathing shortens, and your muscles tighten, reinforcing a negative state. When you are joyful, your body expands, your movements are freer, and your breathing is deeper. This means that changing your physical state can influence your emotional state. By moving your body, practicing deep breathing, or even smiling intentionally, you can interrupt patterns of negative emotion and create a shift in energy. The law of attraction responds not just to your mind, but to the overall vibration of your being, and your body is part of that equation. Surroundings also influence emotional vibration. Being in environments filled with negativity makes it difficult to maintain high emotional states, no matter how strong your thoughts are. Conversely, placing yourself in spaces that inspire, uplift, and energize you makes it much easier to feel the emotions that attract success. This includes the people you spend time with, the conversations you engage in, and even the content you consume daily. Every input has the power to elevate or lower your emotional state, and over time, this determines the vibration you consistently project. Ultimately, emotion is the force that amplifies your attraction. Thoughts create the map, but emotions provide the vehicle that takes you to the destination. When you feel aligned with the reality you want, when you cultivate emotions that mirror the success, abundance, and joy you seek, you become magnetic. You no longer chase opportunities. They are drawn to you because your energy resonates with them. The more you practice aligning your emotions with your desires, the stronger your magnet becomes, and the faster your reality begins to shift to reflect it. Clarity is one of the most underestimated forces in the process of attracting success, yet it is the very thing that accelerates everything you desire. Most people drift through life with vague goals, uncertain desires, and half-hearted intentions, and then they wonder why their results feel random or inconsistent. When your vision is unclear, your energy becomes scattered, your focus is diluted, and your actions lose direction. The law of attraction does not respond powerfully to uncertainty, it responds with precision to clarity. When you declare what you want with absolute certainty, when you can see it, describe it, and feel it with detail, your mind begins to organize itself around that vision, and the universe begins aligning circumstances, people, and opportunities that match it. Clarity is like setting the GPS for your life. Without it, you wander in circles. With it, you move forward with speed and purpose. Think about how many times people say things like, "I want more money," or "I want to be happy," or "I want success." On the surface, these sound like goals, but in reality, they are far too vague to create momentum. If you say you want more money and find a single coin on the ground tomorrow, technically your desire has been fulfilled, but it won't feel like progress. That's because your request lacked specificity. If instead you decide, "I want to earn 10,000 in the next 3 months through my business by serving a certain number of clients," your vision has detail, direction, and measurable markers. That level of clarity gives your mind something to focus on, and it allows you to measure progress in real terms. The clearer the target, the sharper your focus becomes, and the faster you are able to move toward it, because you know exactly what you are aiming for. Clarity also eliminates confusion when obstacles arise. If your goal is vague, every challenge feels like a potential dead end because you are unsure of where you are headed in the first place. But when your vision is clear, challenges are reframed as detours rather than dead ends. For example, if your clear goal is to grow your business to a certain revenue, a setback in marketing is no longer seen as failure but simply as feedback. You know where you are going, so you are able to adjust strategies while staying anchored to the outcome. This kind of focus prevents you from giving up too soon, because your clarity provides a compass even when the path is rough. The subconscious mind thrives on clarity as well. When your goals are precise and vividly imagined, your subconscious begins working in the background to filter information, opportunities, and connections that align with your desires. This is why when you set a clear intention, you suddenly begin to notice things you were previously blind to. It's like buying a new car and then seeing that same model everywhere. It was always there, but your brain had no reason to notice it until your focus shifted. Clarity activates this same principle with your goals. When you clearly define what you want, your subconscious mind begins highlighting people, resources, and possibilities that were invisible before, simply because now they are relevant to your vision. Another important aspect of clarity is emotional connection. Clarity is not just about knowing what you want logically, it is about being able to connect emotionally to why you want it. When your goal is clear and tied to a meaningful purpose, your motivation increases exponentially. Saying, "I want to be fit," is vague and uninspiring. But saying, "I want to build the strength and energy to be fully present with my family, to feel confident in my own skin, and to live a long, healthy life," is vivid and emotionally charged. That emotional clarity keeps you consistent when discipline alone feels difficult. The clearer and more personal the vision, the stronger the pull it has on your actions. Clarity also helps you make faster and more effective decisions. Life presents endless choices, and without clarity, you waste energy debating every option. But when you are clear about your direction, decision-making becomes easier because every choice is filtered through a simple question: does this move me closer to my vision, or does it move me further away? That kind of decision-making accelerates progress because you are no longer paralyzed by uncertainty. You stop chasing distractions that look appealing in the moment but pull you off course, and you remain focused on what truly matters. Over time, these small, clear decisions compound into massive results because you are consistently moving in one direction. Visualization is one of the most powerful tools to create clarity. When you take time daily to imagine your ideal life in detail, the sights, the sounds, the feelings, you are programming your mind with a clear image of where you are going. The more vivid the image, the stronger the signal you send to your subconscious and to the universe. Instead of just saying, "I want a better career," you can visualize yourself in a specific role, walking into a particular office, interacting with colleagues, feeling a sense of accomplishment at the end of the day. That kind of detailed visualization sharpens your clarity and makes the outcome feel real, which accelerates the actions and opportunities that lead you there. Clarity also requires courage because declaring exactly what you want means eliminating the safety of vagueness. Vague goals protect you from disappointment. You can always adjust them later if things don't work out. But clarity demands commitment, and commitment can feel risky. However, that very risk is what activates momentum. When you are clear, you cut off other options, and in doing so, you direct all your energy into one focused path. That intensity is what creates acceleration. The universe does not respond to half commitments, but when you declare a vision with certainty, the law of attraction begins to arrange the conditions to meet you at the level of your clarity. Surrounding yourself with clarity-driven influences also matters. If you spend time with people who drift aimlessly, you will be pulled into the same energy of indecision. But when you immerse yourself in environments where people are clear about their goals, their visions, and their actions, that clarity rubs off on you. Clarity is contagious, and so is confusion. This is why mentorship accountability groups and vision-driven communities are so powerful. They reinforce your clarity and accelerate your growth by aligning your energy with others who are moving with purpose. In the end, clarity is not just about knowing what you want, but about aligning every part of yourself, your thoughts, your emotions, your actions, with that vision so strongly that the path ahead becomes unavoidable. The sharper the picture, the stronger the pull. The stronger the pull, the faster the progress. Clarity removes hesitation, it removes distraction, and it replaces confusion with momentum. The more precise your vision becomes, the more powerfully the law of attraction can work on your behalf, because it is no longer trying to respond to vague signals but to a focused, consistent, undeniable command. The environment you live in, work in, and immerse yourself in every single day is not neutral. It is constantly shaping your mindset, your emotions, and your energy. It influences the way you think, the decisions you make, and ultimately the results you attract into your life. Many people underestimate just how powerful their surroundings are. They think success is purely an internal matter, that if they just think the right thoughts and feel the right emotions, they can overcome anything. While inner work is essential, ignoring the external environment is like planting a seed in dry soil and expecting it to bloom. The soil matters, the atmosphere matters, and the conditions you place yourself in will either amplify your attraction power or weaken it. The law of attraction works best when the environment around you supports the energy you are cultivating inside. Consider how the people you spend time with influence your energy. Every person carries an energy field, and whether you are conscious of it or not, you absorb the vibration of the people you are around most often. If you spend your days surrounded by negativity, gossip, doubt, and fear, it will be extremely difficult to sustain high levels of positive energy within yourself. No matter how much you visualize or affirm, the constant bombardment of low-frequency energy will weigh you down. On the other hand, when you spend time with people who are ambitious, solution-focused, and growth-minded, your own energy naturally rises to match theirs. Success begins to feel normal instead of impossible, opportunities feel abundant instead of rare, and your attraction power multiplies because your environment is reinforcing your vision instead of fighting against it. It's not just people who shape your environment, it's also the physical space you inhabit. Look around the room you spend the most time in. Is it cluttered, chaotic, filled with things that drain your energy, or is it organized, inspiring, and energizing? Your environment communicates messages to your subconscious mind all day long. A cluttered space reinforces disorder, which creates scattered focus. A clean, inspiring space reinforces clarity, which strengthens focus and attracts aligned opportunities. Even small changes like adding plants, natural light, or motivational quotes can shift the energy of a space, and by extension, shift the energy of your mind. The physical world around you is a mirror of your inner state, but it also works in reverse. The external can influence the internal. When you create an environment that reflects the life you want, it becomes easier for your inner world to align with it. Another aspect of environment that many overlook is the information they consume daily. The conversations you listen to, the news you watch, the podcasts, music, and videos you absorb, all of it feeds your mind and shapes your vibration. If you constantly consume stories of fear, crisis, and negativity, your subconscious mind will absorb that as the dominant reality, and your energy will reflect it. You cannot expect to attract abundance while flooding your mind with scarcity-based messages. But when you intentionally fill your mind with empowering content, with stories of people overcoming challenges, with knowledge that expands your thinking, you shift your emotional state to one of possibility. Over time, this consumption compounds, and your energy field becomes infused with the vibrations of growth and abundance, making you a stronger magnet for success. Environment also includes your habits and routines, because they create the atmosphere of your daily life. If your routines are filled with distraction, procrastination, and energy-draining habits, your environment is essentially one of stagnation. But when you build routines that energize you, exercise, meditation, journaling, goal setting, you create an environment of productivity and clarity, even if the physical space around you doesn't change. Habits are invisible elements of your environment, yet they shape your energy just as much as the people and places you encounter. By consciously designing routines that align with your vision, you reinforce the vibration you want to sustain, and your attraction power grows stronger with consistency. It is also worth noting that environments are not just physical, they are emotional and energetic. If you are in relationships filled with conflict, manipulation, or lack of support, that emotional environment becomes a heavy weight on your ability to attract success. Even if you have positive thoughts, the emotional energy of constant tension will drain your focus and lower your vibration. Creating healthy boundaries, surrounding yourself with supportive relationships, and being intentional about the emotional environments you allow yourself into are crucial steps if you want to strengthen your attraction power. Success thrives in environments where encouragement, belief, and possibility are present. The places you choose to spend time in also impact your energy. Think about how different you feel when you are in nature compared to when you are in a noisy, chaotic environment. Being near water, mountains, or greenery has a calming, expansive effect on the mind, opening you up to higher levels of creativity and inspiration. This is why so many breakthrough ideas come when people step away from their normal surroundings and immerse themselves in new environments. If you feel stuck, sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is change your surroundings, even temporarily. A different environment can spark new energy, new thoughts, and new emotional states, which then attract new results. The environment you choose to create is ultimately a reflection of how seriously you take your vision. If you say you want abundance but live in an environment filled with scarcity-based conversations, cluttered spaces, and energy-draining influences, your actions are misaligned with your desire. But if you intentionally craft an environment of growth, surrounding yourself with people who inspire you, consuming content that elevates you, designing spaces that energize you, you are sending a clear signal that you are ready to align with success. The universe responds to alignment, and alignment becomes easier when your environment supports your vision instead of fighting against it. One of the most misunderstood aspects of the law of attraction is the role of action. Many people hear about the power of thoughts and emotions and mistakenly assume that if they just think positively and feel good, their dreams will magically appear without any effort. They believe that success will simply fall into their lap because they have visualized it or affirmed it. But the truth is, thoughts and emotions create the blueprint and energy, while action is the bridge that carries those internal states into the external world. Without action, the process remains incomplete. You can have the clearest vision and the strongest belief, but if you are unwilling to take consistent steps toward that vision, it will remain an idea instead of becoming your reality. Action is not a contradiction to the law of attraction. It is the missing ingredient that makes it work in the physical world. When you take action, you create momentum. Momentum is the force that transforms small steps into big breakthroughs. Think of it like pushing a heavy car that is stuck in place. At first, the effort feels enormous, and the car barely moves, but as you keep pushing, the car begins to roll, and soon it takes less and less effort to keep it moving. This is how action works in life. The first steps may feel difficult, uncertain, or uncomfortable, but once you start moving, your energy builds, opportunities arise, and your confidence grows. Suddenly, what once felt impossible begins to feel inevitable. Without those first actions, however, the energy of your vision remains locked inside your imagination, never gaining the traction it needs to come alive. Action also demonstrates belief in a way that words cannot. You can say you believe in abundance, but if you never take action toward creating wealth, your belief remains theoretical. You can say you want to improve your health, but if you don't change your diet, move your body, or get enough rest, your desire remains only a wish. The universe responds to what you do as much as to what you think and feel. Taking action is a way of signaling that you are serious, that you are committed, and that you are ready to align with the opportunities you've been asking for. When you move, the universe moves with you. Another reason action is crucial is that it generates feedback. Many people hesitate to act because they are afraid of making mistakes, but mistakes are part of the process that sharpens your clarity and strengthens your results. When you act, you gain information you could never gather by just thinking or visualizing. You discover what works, what doesn't, what needs adjustment, and what aligns best with your vision. This feedback loop accelerates growth because each action becomes a teacher. Without action, you remain stuck in theory, endlessly planning and imagining without gaining the wisdom that only experience provides. Action also builds confidence, which in turn strengthens your ability to attract success. Confidence is not something you wait to feel before you act. It is something that grows because you act. Every time you follow through on a step, no matter how small, you prove to yourself that you are capable. That proof builds inner trust, and that trust creates the energy of certainty. The law of attraction responds more strongly to certainty than to hope, and certainty is born from consistent action. When you back your vision with steps, you shift from wishing to knowing, and that shift changes the energy you radiate. Taking action also moves you into environments where opportunities can find you. You cannot attract connections, partnerships, or breakthroughs if you never put yourself in motion. For example, someone who dreams of building a business but never launches, never networks, never shares their ideas, will not be noticed by the people who could help them. But someone who takes even imperfect action, sharing their vision, creating their first product, joining communities, suddenly becomes visible. That visibility increases the likelihood of attracting people and opportunities aligned with their goal. Action expands your presence in the world, and the larger your presence, the greater the field of attraction. There is also a psychological power in action because it interrupts procrastination and perfectionism. Many people wait for the perfect time, the perfect plan, or the perfect feeling before they move, but that waiting becomes endless. Action breaks the cycle. Once you start, you realize that progress is not about perfection, but about movement. Each small step leads to the next, and along the way you refine and improve. Clarity often comes after you act, not before. You don't need to have the entire staircase figured out. You just need to take the first step. And once you do, the next steps begin to reveal themselves. It is important to understand that action does not mean endless struggle or grinding yourself into exhaustion. Inspired action, which is aligned with your vision and your energy, is far more effective than forced action. Inspired action often feels natural, exciting, and purposeful. It is when you feel nudged to call someone, to start a project, to take a chance. And even if you don't see the full picture, something in you knows it is the right step. The more you align your thoughts and emotions with your vision, the more frequently these moments of inspiration will occur, and when they do, it is crucial to act on them. These are the opportunities the universe is presenting, and your willingness to move on them accelerates manifestation. At the same time, consistent daily actions matter just as much as big, bold moves. Success is rarely built on one massive leap. It is built on small, repeated actions that compound over time. Reading a few pages of a book daily, practicing a skill regularly, reaching out to one new person, saving a small amount of money consistently. These may seem minor in isolation, but over months and years, they accumulate into massive change. The law of attraction amplifies what you are consistent with, and if your consistency lies in aligned action, your results will multiply. When you see action as the missing ingredient, you begin to realize that manifestation is not passive. It is a dynamic process of aligning thought, emotion, and action. Thoughts create the blueprint, emotions energize the blueprint, but action is the construction crew that builds the reality. Without it, the blueprint remains an unrealized dream. With it, the dream takes form step by step, and you begin to live the very life you once only imagined. Faith over fear is one of the most transformative principles you can ever apply when it comes to attracting success and living a life of purpose. Fear is the default state of the human mind when it faces uncertainty, change, or challenge. It whispers doubts, magnifies risks, and paints vivid pictures of failure before you even take a step. Fear convinces you to stay where you are, to play small, to wait for the perfect moment that never comes. But faith is the antidote. Faith is the inner knowing that even if you cannot see the full path, even if you do not have all the answers, the next step will reveal itself. Faith is choosing to believe that something greater is working on your behalf, and that your vision is possible even when evidence is not yet visible. Choosing faith over fear means deciding to move forward despite the voice of doubt, to trust in the unseen, and to live from conviction rather than hesitation. The reason faith is so powerful is because it rewires your focus. Fear focuses your attention on everything that could go wrong, and when you focus on what could go wrong, you begin to attract circumstances that confirm those fears. Faith, on the other hand, shifts your attention to what could go right, to what is possible, to what is worth striving for. When you hold on to faith, you amplify your creative energy, your optimism, and your willingness to see opportunities where others only see obstacles. Fear contracts your vision while faith expands it. Fear keeps you stuck in survival mode, but faith moves you into creation mode, where your energy and imagination open the door to new realities. Faith also creates resilience. When fear controls your decisions, the first setback feels like proof that you should quit. But when faith anchors you, setbacks become stepping stones. You begin to interpret challenges not as evidence of failure, but as part of the process of growth. Faith allows you to endure the discomfort of uncertainty because you trust that the outcome will be worth it. This resilience is what separates those who give up after the first obstacle from those who achieve extraordinary success. Every successful person has faced doubt, rejection, and difficulty, but their faith kept them moving forward when fear told them to stop. Another dimension of faith is that it strengthens your identity. Fear convinces you that you are too small, too unprepared, too unworthy to achieve great things. Faith reminds you that you are capable, that you are guided, that you are enough right now to take the next step. Faith doesn't wait until you are perfect. It accepts you as you are and calls you forward. This shift in identity is crucial because the law of attraction responds not to what you want, but to who you believe yourself to be. If fear keeps you identifying as someone powerless, your energy reflects that powerlessness. If faith grounds you in the belief that you are powerful and resourceful, your energy radiates confidence, and you begin to attract experiences that match that confidence. Faith over fear is also about perspective. Fear exaggerates the size of problems, making them look bigger than they really are. Faith shrinks problems by enlarging your sense of possibility. With faith, you stop asking, "What if I fail?" and start asking, "What if this works?" That simple shift in question completely changes the way you act. Instead of being paralyzed, you become willing to experiment, to try, to learn. Fear only looks at the cost of action, while faith considers the cost of inaction. The opportunities lost, the time wasted, the life unlived. Faith reminds you that staying where you are is often riskier than stepping into the unknown, because nothing grows in stagnation. Faith also carries a spiritual power that goes beyond logic. When you choose faith, you open yourself up to guidance, intuition, and synchronicities that fear would have blinded you to. Fear clouds your perception, making you miss the subtle nudges and signs that life offers. Faith sharpens your awareness, helping you notice the right people, ideas, and opportunities that are aligned with your vision. People who live with faith often describe moments when everything seems to line up for them, when doors open unexpectedly, when resources appear just in time. This is not coincidence, it is the natural response to the energy of faith, which draws into your life what you need because you are willing to trust and act. Another crucial aspect is that faith is contagious. When you carry yourself with faith, you inspire others. People are drawn to confidence and certainty because it gives them hope. Fear repels people because it feels heavy, limiting, and draining. But faith attracts people because it radiates possibility. This is why leaders, visionaries, and entrepreneurs who achieve big things often describe themselves as fueled by faith. They transmit their belief to others, and others in turn become willing to support, invest, and collaborate. Your faith not only shapes your own life, it becomes a light for others who are searching for the courage to act on their own dreams. Living with faith over fear doesn't mean you will never feel afraid. Fear will always try to whisper its warnings when you step outside your comfort zone. The difference is that with faith, you don't let fear have the final word. You acknowledge its voice, but you choose not to obey it. You recognize that fear is a sign you are growing, and growth always requires stepping into the unknown. Faith allows you to feel the fear and move anyway, knowing that courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to act despite it. Every time you choose faith over fear, you strengthen the muscle of courage, and that courage expands your capacity for even greater success. Faith over fear is ultimately about deciding what story you will live by. Fear tells a story of limitation, scarcity, and risk. Faith tells a story of growth, abundance, and possibility. The story you choose shapes the life you live. When you anchor yourself in faith, you live with a sense of trust that life is conspiring for your good, that challenges are shaping you, and that your vision is possible. That mindset alters your energy, and your energy alters your reality. Fear may always knock on your door, but you don't have to invite it in. Faith is the choice to welcome possibility instead, and that choice unlocks the success you've been seeking. Consistency is the element that transforms fleeting inspiration into lasting transformation, the force that takes the abstract idea of attraction and solidifies it into tangible results. It is easy to get excited after reading about the law of attraction, watching a powerful speech, or experiencing a surge of motivation. But what happens after that initial spark determines whether your life truly changes. Many people start strong with affirmations, visualizations, or taking bold steps toward their goals, only to fade back into old habits when the excitement wears off. This stop and go pattern weakens the power of attraction because the energy you are sending out is inconsistent. The universe responds not just to what you desire, but to what you are consistently committed to, day after day, even when you don't feel like it. Consistency is what converts a moment of belief into a lifestyle of belief, and it is through that lifestyle that success takes form. The reason consistency is so powerful is that it compounds over time. Just as small deposits in a bank account grow into significant wealth with enough time and regularity, small daily actions accumulate into massive change. You may not notice the impact of repeating a positive thought today or taking a small step toward your goal tomorrow, but over weeks, months, and years, those small efforts build momentum that becomes unstoppable. Consistency allows you to harness the law of compounding not just in finances, but in your health, your relationships, your mindset, and your overall success. Those who master consistency don't necessarily move the fastest in the beginning, but they are the ones still standing, still progressing, and ultimately reaping the greatest rewards when others have given up. Consistency also signals clarity and commitment. When you show up daily for your vision, you communicate to yourself and to the universe that this is not a passing interest but a deep desire. Sporadic effort sends a mixed signal, like someone who says they want to get fit, but only goes to the gym once a month. But when you align your actions consistently with your intentions, your energy becomes steady, focused, and powerful. That steadiness magnifies your attraction because it creates a frequency the universe can lock onto. Imagine tuning into a radio station. If the signal is weak or keeps cutting out, you can't hear the music clearly. Consistency is what strengthens the signal of your desires until it becomes crystal clear and undeniable. Another important aspect of consistency is that it builds trust with yourself. Many people struggle not because they lack goals, but because they don't believe their own promises anymore. They have told themselves too many times that they will start tomorrow, that they will stay committed this time, only to quit when it gets hard. Every time this happens, self-trust erodes. But consistency restores that trust. Every day you follow through on what you said you would do, even in small ways, you strengthen your inner confidence. That confidence is magnetic because it shifts your energy from self-doubt to self-assurance. And when you radiate self-assurance, you naturally attract opportunities and people who align with that energy. Consistency also overcomes resistance. The human mind naturally resists change because it craves comfort and familiarity. At first, doing affirmations, maintaining a vision board, or taking daily steps toward your dream may feel awkward or inconvenient. But the more consistently you do it, the more natural it becomes. Habits are formed through repetition, and once something becomes a habit, it requires less effort to maintain. This is how consistency transforms the extraordinary into the ordinary. What once required willpower becomes automatic, and that automation frees up your energy to pursue even greater goals. Consistency doesn't just help you attract one success. It creates a foundation that allows you to attract success after success without burning out. Consistency is also the key to sustaining momentum. Success rarely comes overnight. It comes from sustained effort over time. Many people quit too soon, not realizing that their breakthrough may have been just around the corner. Consistency ensures that you keep showing up long enough for your efforts to bear fruit. It's like planting seeds in a garden. If you water them once and then walk away, nothing grows. But if you water them consistently, even when you don't see immediate results, eventually the growth becomes visible. The law of attraction works in the same way. You may not see instant evidence of your vision, but consistency ensures that your energy and actions are aligned long enough for manifestation to take root and bloom. Another hidden power of consistency is that it stabilizes your emotional energy. Emotions naturally fluctuate. Some days you feel unstoppable, while other days you feel uncertain or drained. If you rely only on emotion to fuel your actions, your results will be inconsistent. But when you build systems and routines that keep you consistent regardless of how you feel, you take your emotions out of the driver's seat. You no longer have to wait for motivation to strike, you simply show up because consistency has become who you are. This stability is magnetic because it shows the universe that you are unwavering, and that unwavering energy pulls success toward you even during the days when your emotions are low. Consistency also forces mastery. Repeating the same actions daily doesn't just move you forward, it sharpens your skill, deepens your understanding, and increases your ability to attract success at a higher level. Someone who consistently practices speaking will not only attract opportunities to speak, but will also become more effective at it, which in turn draws even bigger opportunities. Someone who consistently focuses on wealth building habits not only attracts financial opportunities, but also develops the wisdom to handle those opportunities wisely. Consistency multiplies your attraction power because it ensures you are always growing, always refining, always becoming the type of person who can handle the success you are attracting. Most importantly, consistency turns your dream into an identity. At first, you may feel like someone trying to adopt new habits or beliefs. But with consistency, you stop trying and start being. You are no longer someone attempting to live a wealthy, healthy, or abundant life. You become someone who naturally does so. And when your identity aligns with your vision, the law of attraction works at its highest level because you are no longer chasing something outside of yourself. You are embodying it daily, and that embodiment draws matching circumstances into your life. Consistency bridges the gap between who you are now and who you want to become, until eventually there is no gap at all.